hearty welcome to another edition of the program Familiarise with the Law, coming to you from Star Television. We are broadcast live from our Media One Center 3 Mama Street, Brookfields in Freetown. My name is Abdul Rahman Kamara. In the studio with me, I have as my guests the Honorable Justice Gekura Bangura, one of the judges of the Community Court of Justice, the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice, and also the Public Relation Officer for the Sierra Leone Bar Association, Lawyer Israel Jar. Honorable Justice, welcome to the program, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. I hope you are all doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Israel Jar, welcome to the program.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for having me.
Great. We understand that the Sierra Leone Bar Association, in collaboration with ECOWAS Community Court of Justice, has commenced a 2-day outreach program which is geared towards sensitization of the Sierra Leone public on the operations of the courts, especially on specific thematic areas like practice and procedures of the court and how to file cases before the court. But let me, before I bring in the Honorable Justice, as a public face of the Sierra Leone Bar Association, what's the driving factor behind having delegation from the ECOWAS Court of Justice to actually come into the country to enhance what you guys refer to as a campaign sensitization?
Well, the driving factor would be to sensitize citizens of member states about the operations, establishment, processes and procedures of the court. And I think I know that this particular visit of the delegation, that is the president of the ECOWAS court and other judges and their delegates, are here as part of the outreach section program of the court. That's why they are here. And Bar Association, being a body of lawyers responsible, among other things, for the promotion and protection of fundamental human rights, the advocacy to ensure that laws are implemented and where necessary are amended, and being also cognizant of the fact that the ECOWAS Court of Justice, or the Community Court of Justice, which is the judicial arm of the organ of the ECOWAS body or organization, we thought it necessary that we should collaborate with their visit, or with them in their visit, to ensure that we sensitize not only our members, but to be part of the outreach program to sensitize the ordinary citizens in this country to be aware of their rights, and that in any event where they are perhaps have lost faith in the judiciary or other legal structures or other judicial organs or justice system, they will have the right to approach the ECOWAS Court of Justice.
Okay. Honorable Justice Kekura Bangura, we're happy to have you as one of ours in the community court. The looming challenge is understanding the limits, the jurisdiction and the mandate of the ECOWAS court. We've seen a situation where perhaps many people have been saying, when it comes to a judgment that has been meted out in a domestic court, does the ECOWAS court has the right to actually overturn that decision? That in itself has created a kind of misunderstanding to a larger extent, that so many people don't understand the way the ECOWAS court to. Take us through the mandate and jurisdiction of the ECOWAS court.
Yeah, thank you very much. This question have been coming up and up again. At AYV, they ask the same question, SLBC, the same question, and I'm here again answering the same question, and that is why we are here. Firstly, let us just look at the ECOWAS court and the national courts. We know, firstly, that the national court has a creation of Act of Parliament, not so?
Yes.
In the case of ECOWAS, it is by protocol, another a means of law. And that protocol which created the court itself, gave to the court specific mandate. If you look at the 2005 supplementary protocol of the court, Article 9 of that provision tells you about the mandate, the jurisdiction of the court. Firstly, it gives legal opinion on the community text of laws. That is one measure. All the community institutions can seek legal opinion from the ECOWAS court. Number two, can also look into claims of human rights violations from individuals and even corporate bodies. That brings the beauty of the court. When we are talking about human rights, some people do not think about corporate bodies. But in international law, to some extent, we believe even corporate bodies are entitled to some rights, though they are not human beings. Member states can also bring action in that court, assuming, let God forbid it, that we have boundary problems between us and Guinea. Sierra Leone can take that case to the court. We'll be there to adjudicate that one. Or among individuals. That is why we want to make sure we popularize this ECOWAS court rules. Individuals that are entering into a contract, commercial contract, and in that contract they have agreed that any settlement of dispute may have to be referred to the ECOWAS Court of Justice. In that case, ECOWAS Court will assume jurisdiction to determine the question of law that arises in that agreement. So firstly, as to member state, initially when the ECOWAS Court started, that was the initial mandate to settle dispute between member states. But it came to a point that member states were not even coming before the court. So they now have to extend it to include human rights violation, which is the main, the principal function, because when we are talking about human rights violation, it takes a very wide range. Okay. Somebody was asking today why ECOWAS can't assume criminal jurisdiction. But when we are talking about human rights, even in rape cases, there is a violation of human rights. That is right to the dignity of a person. Okay. So that one also is a violation. So although it is a criminal case, but you find out that the person actually committing the rape has committed a violation of the right. But you cannot take that person to the court. The question now we come to ask why the state are not the perpetrator. The reasons are many. You know, at international law, the state enters into these conventions or protocols or treaties. Only the state parties are bound by that a convention, not the human being within the state. And since the state has signed those conventions, it behoves on that state an obligation to make sure they discharge their obligation under those conventions they have signed. Somebody may ask, the conventions so far has not been, like, say, domesticated. Yes, but the mere fact, you look at section 44 of our constitution, Sierra Leone, requires ratification of agreement of those nature. And if we have ratified it, it means it carries on us some duty for us to make sure we do what is right under those conventions. Okay. So therefore, when state parties fail to discharge those duties with respect to their nationals and they suffer some violation, they bring the state, because it's the state party that signed that convention. So it is the state, because the state is supposed to protect your right. And if they have failed in doing so, then you can bring action against the state, which we did recently in Nigeria, where there were herdsmen causing havoc. Then there was an action taken against them, against the state of Nigeria, not the herdsmen, because they believed the Nigerian government have failed to provide security to protect the dignity of their president, and as a result they have suffered. You understand? We look into the thing, into the claim.
So simply put, it's a state that has that responsibility.
This is a state that has responsibility.
The duty of care.
Yes. So when we saw to it that there was a violation, we blame Nigeria.
But Honorable Justice Kekura Bangura, most often the common challenge with the community court resides on the enforcement of the ECOWAS court judgment, which is still a very big challenge.
Yes.
And there is no express provision that gives the strength to the court to actually force a member state to comply.
No, to say the judgment is not really enforceable may be our overstatement, because I have been in this Sierra Leone myself, where actions were taken against the government of Sierra Leone in the case of Tahid Bar Wanza, and you saw the government made up a settlement proposal.
Yeah, that is where
and they were able to reach at a negotiated settlement.
Yeah, they were obligated to actually do what is required of them.
No, they were
the judgment of the
they
court.
were not obligated. The state saw it so easy for them to come to negotiation.
So in a situation where if it is a state against an individual, somebody renege on the terms, the stipulated terms that result as a result of that particular judgment, and they fail to actually comply, what will the court do in return?
The court has no mechanism by which they can enforce their own judgment.
And that's a challenge.
But this is not only a challenge that is peculiar to ECOWAS court. That is one thing I want. I am not taking it to be an excuse. But at the same time, it is not a challenge that is peculiar to just ECOWAS court. If you go to COMESA, the East African Court, African Human Rights Court, you go to the European Court of Human Rights, and so forth. When one's judgment has been delivered, there is always a problem. What is like the beauty of international law? Here are people coming together. They are creating an institution. This is the institution where anyone who is not satisfied with what we are doing, you bring us here. We are paying all the people. The people are there. They give judgment against you, supporting them. You see the beauty of the international law. And still, this same member state, their willingness may end up avoiding what you are calling challenge. It all depends upon the willingness of the member state to ensure that they follow the protocols to the letter.
Okay. Now, before I come to Israel Justice, now you're here on the sensitization with your team of staff from the court. Today you've held a session with the larger community, that is the NGOs and civil societies, including journalists themselves, and tomorrow you're having a closed session with the lawyers. What specifically would be there that you're going to tell our landed lawyers in this country tomorrow?
You see, we always say, when we say, law is something very interesting. There is no, you can study law, you practice law for a long time, you may not end up doing all the laws. You agree with me that Sierra Leoneans came to know about ECOWAS court not quite too long. When the issue of Sanswana came, that was the time we started, we had knowledge. As I'm talking, there are people you talk to them about ECOWAS court. They don't know what ECOWAS court is all about. this media is one way. I am really happy that depending on how your
Yeah, we have.
can go,
Yes.
we can go as far as my 91 or my broker, where people we listen to us, even though we are talking in English, but there are those who can understand.
Mhm.
You see, that is one good thing about what we are doing. We are coming to meet our brothers here because we have realized that the participation of Sierra Leone in the ECOWAS court is on a minimal scale.
Mm.
Why we have lawyers in the French-speaking countries who are almost always making good use of that court. We took it as one, probably, they may not have been fully au fait with the proceedings of that court. So therefore, we believe it as the judicial organ of ECOWAS, we believe it is our duty to come down. You hardly see judges coming to the media,
Mhm.
but this we have you have seen it. Don't say never.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have seen it now that lawyers are judges are coming down
Mhm.
to tell the people about what they are doing. This is again a novelty about the ECOWAS court.
Okay.
Now our brothers, but when we meet them tomorrow, like what we have done today,
Yes.
we presented papers, our overview of the jurisdiction of the ECOWAS court, the mandate, and such as some other papers. By the time we deliver those papers, they ask questions, interactions take place. Some of the lawyers will go now with an idea of ECOWAS court. They will now know that you don't need to fly from here to Nigeria for you to file your case. There is now an e-filing system in preparation where you can stay here and file your defense in Abuja. You can only go there one time is fixed for hearing. That is one. Number two, we tell them who can take or can go before this court. The question they will ask, can individuals go before this court? The answer is yes or no. Yes, if they agreed in their commercial contract that ECOWAS court shall have jurisdiction to settle dispute arising from that commercial contract, they can go there as individuals. But principally so, normally the defendant or the respondent are almost all the time the states, because these are the parties against whom action is being filed. Why? Because they are the signatories to all international instruments. Human rights like the CAT, Convention on Torture, CEDAW, a Convention on Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women, Child Rights Act, all these were signed by member states. Sierra Leone is a party to almost all those conventions. So therefore, having signed that one, that is why maybe you may not have heard of Universal Periodic Review, UPR.
UPR.
The moment you sign, you have assumed obligation, and they will ask you to come before the Human Rights Committee in Geneva and report. That is another novelty again, as I always say. Yeah, they say examine yourself. You examine yourself before the body of people in the Human Rights Commission, and they will now say, yes, we commend you so far in this area. You have done this, you have done that, but really we recommend that more is to be done there. Some of this you have to do. You have not done that, you have not done this. Why? You need to step up some actions. They say that is how we always do in international media relating to the best international practice, so that at the end of the day, you, myself, and all the others, we have a knowledge. So when we are talking tomorrow, we now say, for example, who can go to ECOWAS court? One, we say individuals who have suffered human rights violation. We have individuals and corporations, corporate bodies. You may have, for example, multinational companies operating for one reason or the other, some action may be taken against them. Like in Liberia, there's a Dexter Oil Company that filed an action against the government of Liberia. They are before us, and we deliver judgment. Those set of people can also go there. Member states can take action against their fellow member states. Yes, you can take action again
Either as a result of border dispute.
against the community official for any wrongdoing. So that that tells you that they are not insulated against community action. If they are found wanting, you can file claim against them.
Okay. Israel, tomorrow is going to be a very big day for you guys, as you heard from what the justice has just said, that immediately after the conclusion of that particular session, you will be in a position to understand the core operational activities of the court. But back home, when the delegation would have gone back to Nigeria, what will be the responsibility of the fellow bar association to actually cascade what you guys have learned to the league public for them to understand the operations of the ECOWAS court?
Yes, the bar association has the responsibility of educating people and citizenry about the laws of the land. And of course, we also have our outreach section or outreach arm of the bar association. We have the public interest committees, which are subsets of the executive. And we do usually hold our weekly program on air. So we continue to sensitize people about the law. So obviously, with what we've been learning, or what we will learn from the judges, from the president of the community court, from his judges, vice president, and of course our own representative on the ECOWAS Court of Justice, the Honorable Mr. Justice Kekura Bangura, with his wealth of experience in Sierra Leonean law and that of international law, now that he has been appointed as a judge, adjudicating on issues of international nature, then we are proud to have him to tutor us, to mentor us, to teach us, to glean from his experience. So it's something the Bar Association would want for its membership. Because just like he said, very few Sierra Leoneans have been appearing before the ECOWAS Court of Justice.
Yes.
So this is an avenue that has been created where their teachings or sensitization about the court might just excite interest or provoke the interest of people or lawyers who would want to engage in international practice or engage practice on an international platform. So this is the avenue we have been wanting, we have been yearning, and this is what the Bar Association is willing to give to its membership as way of seeking the welfare and interest of our members.
Okay, Justice Kekura, I put a question this morning to no less a person, Israel Jah, or as to what the potential therein that the activities of the ECOWAS court should not undermine our domestic courts in the country.
Yeah.
By way of one, for unlike the African Court for Human Rights, which says you must have exhausted all the avenues before you take a matter there. But for the ECOWAS court, that is not the case. So for whatever judgment one may be meted out in the country, they will tell you, no, I don't have confidence in this particular judgment. I will rather resort to going to the ECOWAS court. That in itself as an element of undermining the justice system in the country.
Yeah, I was on you have earlier on asked this question, and I was about to further elaborate on that.
Okay.
But firstly, let us look at these two courts. ECOWAS court is a supranational court. It cut across national boundaries. You have 15 member states over which this court have jurisdiction, including Sierra Leone. And you see the area of competence as compared to our national court, they are not the same. For example, when we are talking about human rights cases, you hardly see within the national court, somebody filing in the high court for claiming against the state that his or her right has been violated. Have you ever seen that one? Even to the point of going to Supreme Court, it has not. People don't do it. That is one side. We do not interfere with the national court at all. The ECOWAS court, in the first place, we have to be clear and we have to be settled on this thing, so that next time people will not continue to ask this kind of question. ECOWAS court has no appellate jurisdiction over national courts. If you appear before, let us assume like the case of Sansumana that was taken to ECOWAS court, a lot of our brothers have misconception. Oh, ECOWAS is like they want to sit as a appellate court over a decision from the Supreme Court. That is and was not the case. It has never been and will never be. You can come before the national court. What can take you to ECOWAS court is when you believe, for example, you are not giving fair hearing. Every human being is entitled to fair hearing before any tribunal. If you believe that those rights you are not guaranteed by the state, you have the right to come before ECOWAS. Not on the decisions that have been given by the national court, but on the allegation that your right have been violated by the state. Mind you, the court is a state actor. When you are talking about international law, you have state and non-state actors. But even the action of non-state actors, as long as it's within the state, where the state has the obligation to ensure that people live in peace, and they have failed, and because of that people have suffered, they can come and file in our court for violation of their rights, but not in substance to file an appeal on the substantive case that have been decided on by the national court. No, so there is no conflict here. There is no fear or suspicion between us and the national court. We know. Just like when you have the water dispenser. Water dispenser, it dispenses hot and cool water. The cool water, you press the button, it comes just cold. Hot just come, although they are in the same gadget, but yes. So that is the way the ECOWAS court and
the decision from the ECOWAS court is final.
Yes, the court of first instance and the court of last resort. Its decision is not subject to any other appeal.
Do you have challenges where perhaps lack of inadequate translators in the court?
We have challenges everywhere. As long as you are. They are
not enough to impede the operational activities.
Well, challenges are there, but you learn to manage and live with the challenges. We met the challenges. The challenges have been there all along. Human resources are never enough for the administration of justice, no matter what, especially at that level. For now, we have one Lusophone, one French, then 3 English-speaking judges. Those documents that are filed, first instance, need to be translated. Portuguese translators sometimes are hard to come by. We have to go look for a private translator whom we can contract to be doing. Sometimes the documents are voluminous. And for us to start these cases, if there is a Portuguese lawyer, judge, sitting on the case where an English lawyer has filed, that document has to be translated into Portuguese. If likewise the case is coming from a French country and Sierra Leonean is sitting on that case as a judge, he may wish to see all the documents translated in English so that he can understand the issues for him to be able to deliberate. Because we have problem, and mind you, having lawyers, interpreters in the field of law, you may have interpreters. It is easy. When you go out there, you can have many French interpreters. But when it comes to those who can interpret the text of law, they are not much. They are not much. And when those who have been in the service for a while are always, you look at my bills, they are always on the lookout for better opportunities. So they go in search for better jobs. So at the end of the day, you'll not be able to even retain them. So you see, this is one of our major challenges.
So we don't seem to be having much time left. Let me come to Israel. When the program will have come to a close tomorrow, what you guys will be embarking on? And lastly, to you, Justice, what will you see as an anticipated outcome of this endeavor coming from the community court by way of enlarging the understanding on the operational activities?
Yes, that is why we intend to talk. On our target list, we have lawyers, we talk to judges, we talk to members of the bar association, and we even intend to include the students. The European community, for example, they have already started teaching European texts of laws in their universities.
Wow.
By the time you come from the university, you have some knowledge about the European Human Court of Justice.
So we are late.
We are not still late. Maybe after talking to the dean of the faculties, the lecturers, they will see reason to develop a curriculum that will include teaching also as part of the law courses, the community text. That's the ECOWAS laws. When we refer to community, we're talking about ECOWAS. Yeah.
Okay. Israel.
Yes, I see you are paying rapt attention to the judge's lecture, and I know you are consumed with it. But as Bar Association, I mean, we are happy that we have partnered with the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice, and that what they have done as part of their outreach program has enlightened Sierra Leoneans, and including lawyers, as tomorrow we'll be having a closed session with them. And this would also, as you know, this has opened the market for lawyers. They would be plying their trade at an international level. So we will continue in the future. What the Bar Association hopes to do, we'll continue to engage them. Once in a while, as part of their outreach programs, we'll try to get more of our lawyers, more of our colleagues, more of Sierra Leonean lawyers who would be included in their list, perhaps of lawyers who will be appearing pro bono, who will be providing legal aid for litigants, who will be appearing, indigent litigants who will be appearing before the court. So these are all situations, these are all circumstances or avenues in which we try to create to make the interest of our members move forward, to ensure that our members are given the best of opportunities as an association. So we are looking for a more and a better working relationship with the ECOWAS Court of Justice, and we are hoping that once in a while, or as time proceeds, we'll be getting judges as well as exchange programs if necessary with the court, so that our members will grow interest in the practice at international level, especially before the ECOWAS Court of Justice.
Okay, I recall a situation quickly. I recall a situation where a couple of months back, the African Court for Human Rights, they led a delegation here on the same mission to actually drive a campaign to understanding the operational activities. So I see the task becoming pretty much encompassing for the Bar Association. You're not limiting your focus only to the ECOWAS Court, but rather the African Court for Human Rights also. That is principally key. But I must say it's a privilege for me today to actually have no less a person in my studio, the Right Honorable Justice Kekura Bangura. I would have loved to see me having people in the likes of Justice Ekuru Robert and Dr. Adirena Thomas. But it's difficult talking to these people.
Yeah,
except,
that's
except for a situation where there is an outreach.
Well,
program.
that's the main advantage that the justice has just outlined.
I know.
With the traditional media or traditional judiciary, you hardly have a judge to come and sit.
At all.
But with the ECOWAS Court, things are transforming. We are hoping now the judiciary has a PRO, so things are going on.
I know.
So with the ECOWAS Court, they have an outreach organ where they can tell the world about their activities, their processes and procedures. So we are hoping that with the Bar Association we'll approach the judiciary and try to get judges and
Exactly,
open
it's
them
what
to
we're talking about.
yeah. So things are going to
I
change.
must as a privilege. Congratulations once more for having you as one of the judges in the court, sir.
Thank you, my brother.
And we are very proud of him as well.
Very proud of you.
Yes, sir.
Well, this is how I draw the curtain in today's edition of the program. My guest in the studio has been the Right Honorable Justice Kekura Bangura from the Community Court, and also Israel Jar. I'm sure he's a public relations officer for the Israel Bar Association. Till then, I've been the presenter of the program. My name is Abdul Rahman Kamara. Have a wonderful day.